From the Schmoes Know Network studios in Los Angeles, California, it's time for Meet the Movie Press. And now, here's your host, the editor-in-chief of SchmoesKnow.com, Mark Riley, and from The Wrap, Jeff Snyder.
All right. Well, hello, Schmoville. Welcome to Meet the Movie Press. It's Casual Friday at Meet the Movie Press.
I'm all dressed up. I didn't get that
I know.
memo.
I threw on a hat. I decided that, actually, we decided we don't have any guests today.
We don't need no stinking guests,
That's
Mark.
right. And you know why?
We're Movie Press. We can handle this show.
Exactly. And that's why I'm really excited for, of course, we're going to have more guests coming up in time, but it was a pretty good news week. And now what we're going to do on this show, which makes me very excited, is we're going to talk about these news breaks and these articles and these scoops and these exclusives and all the things that just kind of flew out yesterday, even being a huge day.
It's kind of been a busy week, yeah.
It's been a busy week.
I'm going to give you guys a peek behind the curtain.
Yeah,
hopefully.
That's the best way to do it. Jeff and I were going back and forth via text, talking about this kind of stuff, and we're like, we have a lot to talk about, so we don't need no stinking guest. We're going to do it today. But first, I want to thank you, Schmoville, for liking and finding us on Meet the Movie Press. On the Schmoes Know Network on the Facebook page. Go ahead and share that again. Like it. Tell your friends. We had a big kind of week last week when I plugged it. A lot of you got involved. I got more involved. And thank you for that. As well as subscribe to the show on iTunes. We keep rising in the ratings, which I love. We hit a good number this past week. Because we had Kofi Outlaw
but
from
don't
the Screen
peak
Rant.
too early. Let's not peak too early.
No, we're not peaking. We are on the steady climb.
We're building momentum
To number one, and we will hit number one someday. But for now, share that iTunes link. You can find it at schmoesknow.com. You can find it on iTunes. Subscribe to the SK podcast on YouTube, because that's where you can get all your shows, including Marvel news from Marvel fans, which just debuted hella good. And I got to hand it to those guys. Way to go.
Yeah. Congrats, Marvel team.
Yeah, that's really cool. And I loved it because I'm a total Marvel geek. So I was very happy. And they're going to have probably a big show next week because of all the news that just broke. So,
Indeed.
yeah. And so, Jeff, first off, how are you?
I'm trying my best not to be distracted.
I know. Jeff came in here this morning. This is what...
We had some breaking news, guys.
Yeah, Meet the Movie Press. This is what happens, guys. Jeff comes in, I come in, we start talking, we shoot it a little bit, like, how was your week, blah, 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 blah.
Shoot it up.
We shoot it up. Not today, though. Jeff was, like, on fuego. He had to work. He had to do some movie pressing.
People to talk to, stuff to do, articles to write, guys.
That's right. And
That's the movie press.
And I just sat back and watched and in awe. And so I really like it.
I'm glowing. We just did a little story about Amber Heard joining the cast of the Magic Mike sequel.
That's right.
And we got a little tip about somebody else, but we can't say.
No, we're not going to
just
say
yet.
So. Not just yet. But it's very intriguing.
Maybe you'll be reading about it before you actually hear or see this.
Yeah. But so Amber Heard, let's just talk about that real quick. Breaking news. Amber Heard is going to be in Magic Mike. Or is she in negotiations?
No. She is done deal in the ensemble.
Nice.
I think it's already filming.
Yeah, that's what I hear.
So, it'll be nice because, listen, I liked Magic Mike. It's funny. I got into a big thing with Barstool about it.
Really?
You know Barstool, right?
Yeah.
Listen, I read Barstool a lot,
That's
but
great.
they're like, what straight guy would want to see Magic Mike? Like, if you see that movie, you must be gay. And I'm like, you know what? I hate thinking like that. It's obviously, what you expect when you're visiting Barstool.
Yes.
But I got a little offended, and rightfully so. It was a good movie.
It's a damn good movie.
And it's
And
about male strippers.
yes, it is about male strippers, but for the guys out there, there are scenes away from them stripping and what they do, and there are boobs in it, guys. There are naked women. I mean, I'm not trying to be misogynistic or anything. I'm just saying that this was a good Steven Soderbergh movie, good performances.
That's true. What was it? Olivia Munn.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
she looked good.
engineer JT is raising his hand in the back there. Do you have something to add?
Thumbs up from JT.
That movie alone has Olivia Munn topless. That's not excuse enough.
There you go. So to hear that it's a movie,
Right. Well, now we have Amber Heard, and we've got Jada Pinkett Smith,
Yep.
and Andy McDowell.
Andie MacDowell is coming back.
Blast from the past.
She is coming back.
I'm glad someone's giving her work.
Yeah, is she playing in the same character she played in 4 Weddings and a Funeral? Is this like a sequel? Or?
She's reprising the role.
Okay, good.
Magic weddings in a magic funeral.
Yes. And it's called Magic Mike XXX or extra extra large, or what is it called again?
I don't know how they're going to pronounce it.
Yeah.
I'm just calling it the Magic Mike sequel for SEO purposes.
Yes. There you go. And for guys of you that don't know what SEO means,
that's how movie bars have to think these days. It's what is it? Search
engine optimization. Yeah. Basically, what you guys don't know when you're kind of running a website, you want to get some hits. You want some eyes on these articles, and when you kind of put some titles out there, some titles do better than others, and it's because of the search engine optimization.
We have to tailor it for the schmoes.
Yeah, that's right. You tailor it for the schmoes because you go into Google and you go, I want to learn about Amber Heard going to Magic Mike, and guess what's going to pop up? TheWrap.com.
All right.
There you go.
So what else happened this week that we can talk about?
Well, what else? We got a lot that happened this week. And first, I want to start with some breaking, hopeful news.
Oh, okay.
Hopeful news, folks. A new segment that you can go to that we're going to drop every Wednesday on Meet the Movie Press on the Schmoes Know Network Facebook page. Guys in Schmoville or new listeners, anybody out there, I want you to go to the page, like it first, and then drop in a comment on news that you want to hear to break.
We're taking requests.
I mean, because a lot of people want to hear about certain things, including, and we'll get to it later, but there are superhero movies that they want to hear about. There are, maybe sequels, what project maybe David Fincher is going to do next, it all encompassing. So I want to give a special shout out to Alan Michael Cumbus. He's a resident Schmovillian. He's a big commentator, big fan of the show, big fan of the Schmoes. And he just went with it, dropped in this great one. He wants to hear that Katie Sackhoff is cast as Miss Marvel. He wants to hear Hellboy 3 announced. And he wants Spike Jonze to work on a Star Wars standalone movie.
Wow, that's quite a wish list.
That is a wish list. Thoughts on that?
Christmas already?
Yeah. So thank you, Alan, and the rest of you out there at Schmoville. Go ahead. It's hopeful news. Hopeful news break, stuff that you want to hear. We want to get just a conversation going. What's out there that you guys want to hear about that gets you excited? Because it kind of gets us excited. So to jump off there with that, I would love to hear Katie Sackhoff get cast as Miss Marvel, because I love Katie. She's a friend of the show. She's been rumored for it. There's a rumor that Miss Marvel is going to make an appearance or a cameo in Avengers 2 and possibly get her own spin-off movie, which I think they need as far as a female-driven superhero movie in the Marvel Universe. I love that idea. Thoughts on that, Jeff?
Listen, she's wonderful.
Yeah.
But can we talk? Let's talk serious.
Let's talk serious. I know where you're going with this, and please do.
I mean, there's a reason Nathan Fillion is rumored for everything, and I get it. And he's beloved.
Yes.
But there's a reason he doesn't get cast in those roles, because he's not a movie star.
That's right.
What? I hate to say it.
Yeah.
Katie Sackhoff's not a movie star either.
Yeah. I think she's perfect for it. But when it comes to meeting the movie press and talking about what we do, we know that Marvel likes to cast movie stars.
They like names. They like some heat. Like if Katie Sackhoff wants to be Captain Marvel, go out there and get something else first. Get a big role, make the most of it, crush it, and then you'll get considered.
And if some things
right now,
yeah, and I know a couple things going on in Katie's life.
Okay.
I don't mean to speak for her, and I'm not going to drop anything, but there is a movie out there that she was auditioning for, and if she gets it, that's going to give her some heat. And that can move into the Miss Marvel.
I might know what you're talking about, but okay.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about, and I like it. So, moving on to next topic, Hellboy 3. I just don't know, guys. I don't know if that's going to happen. From everything I've heard, Guillermo del Toro, he's busy. He's doing, what is he doing next? Pacific Rim sequel. He's doing, he still wants to do, what was the Madness? What is it?
At the Mountains of Madness?
Mountains of Madness, right? Doesn't he want to do that?
The Mouth of Madness?
Yeah, he's doing Crimson Peak. So, and from all we've heard, Hellboy 3 is not going to happen. I'm a big fan of the franchise. I'm not a big fan of either movie per se. I don't own them. I like them. I'm not a big fan of Hellboy in general, the character, but I know there's a huge fan base out there. But guys, again, Meet the Movie Press.
This is another one where I'm just like, guys, let me look you right in the eye in this camera.
Please do, Jeff.
Hellboy 3. For real.
Yeah.
Hellboy 3. No. Guys, we're good. We're good with Hellboy. Let it go.
I think it's time to just let it go because, look, those movies were fun, but they didn't break the bank. They weren't huge.
We don't need a part 3 for everything.
Yeah.
We're lucky you got a sequel.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. So you guys, Hellboy 3, what are your thoughts on that? Drop it on the Meet the Movie Press page on Facebook. I know there's going to be a lot, maybe, I don't want to say haters, but maybe that disagree with what we have to say. But look, for everything we're hearing, Hellboy 3 is not going to happen. And unless something magical happens, I don't know, the stars align and that happens. And I hope for the fans.
You never know, Mark.
You never know. That's very true, Jeff. You puddin'. And then the last one that I think is just a really great call, but will probably never happen. Spike Jonze directing a standalone Star Wars movie. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, that would be awesome. I would probably wait overnight in the line for that one.
I would too.
But yeah, a bit of a long shot. I don't think I see Spike doing that. But then again, we're talking about Joaquin Phoenix as Doctor Strange. So
exactly. Which, by the way, did you see that fan art that somebody did?
I think I did. I think I know what you're talking about, and I think it was cool.
Yeah, it was really, really cool. Someone did some fan art. You can find it out there on the interwebs.
And that got a release date, supposedly.
Yes,
did Marvel officially announce it?
Yeah. Well,
was it on like the site, or was it just on screen?
You know, that's a good question.
I don't know if it was like official, but
yeah. JT, can you go on schmozno.com and look at that and fact check and Doctor Strange release date and find out who broke that?
I mean, I think it was Screen Daily overseas, which is a trade, so they're confirming everything. But I don't think it's been an official Marvel announcement.
Okay.
Either way, the fact that I think it does have a date bodes well for the casting.
And we know it's coming. We know it's coming. We got we got the director, we got the writers, and I know I'm still, buddy. I'll
be ready with a pithy remark as soon as it drops.
I can't wait because I've heard so many people. They're like, they
take their shots at the Snyder, and listen, it happens. You know what? This is a good segue point. We'll talk about how I got egg on my face this week.
Okay, let's do that then. Because
listen.
For the backstory, you broke Joaquin Phoenix as Doctor Strange, and it's gonna happen. I'm pretty sure.
I did, and I took a lot of shots. And
you did.
You have to be ready for that in this business.
Yes.
And I don't have a perfect batting average by any stretch. Neither does anybody.
Yeah.
But this week, I felt pretty bad about one.
Okay.
So I did a story about Billy Bob Thornton doing Our Brand is Crisis, the David Gordon Green movie that George Clooney's producing. Sandra Bullock's going to star. Scoot McNairy's going to star.
Right on.
So I had gotten a tip on Friday that Billy Bob was in talks, and that they also had their eye on Anthony Mackie.
Anthony Mackie.
So I brought that to the studio, and I checked with different reps or whatever, and then Monday morning I check back in, and I get word that that Billy Bob is in talks. Mackie's not ready yet to be announced or whatever.
Okay.
But Billy Bob's in talks, and I should go.
Okay.
So I post the story, and it makes sense. It's like these fast-talking political strategists. We got Clooney, Bullock. Like, why would anybody say no?
Yeah.
So 10 minutes after I post this, I get word that's like, Billy Bob passed this morning. It's out to Paul Giamatti.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So I'm like, wait, what? Like, someone just told me like he's still in discussions.
Okay.
But I guess I had asked Friday. Maybe they got an answer over the weekend. Maybe they didn't tell me that answer until Monday morning. And by Monday morning, it was kind of outdated. So I was working with old information.
Okay.
So I got egg on my face there, and it's my own fault because I should have waited for a deal to close. That's the danger in reporting things so early.
Yeah, which happens a lot. So was it like a Billy Bob is in talks? Kind of thing.
It was an in talks. He's in discussions for something. He's got the offer. He liked the script. He read the script. He liked the script. Can they make out, work out a deal? And I don't know why they couldn't. But so he passed, and so then I'm, circling on Giamatti or whatever, and he's not going to do it either, guys. So like, don't take that as a news break.
Yeah, that's not,
So they're going down the list and seeing who's available.
Okay, so
then a couple days later, Mackie closed, and it's because I had kind of screwed up on the Billy Bob thing. I didn't get the follow-up or anything with Mackie. I think Hollywood Reporter broke that. So.
Okay. So when you say egg on your face, I know it's your own feeling, but did you get, because we're in a world in Meet the Movie Press with these reporters and journalists that, if you get the exclusive first and then it turns out to be true, they're raising their hands going, I told you so. I don't
Right.
want to say "told you so" or "told ya." So, did you get some flack on the interweb?
No, I think that Warner Brothers was disappointed. I don't know that Billy Bob's team was disappointed or whatever, because when I wrote it, that's what I believe to be true. It's not like I'm putting this stuff. If I'm printing it, guys, it means that I believe it personally.
Yeah.
So when I posted, I totally believed it was Billy Bob, and then it just so happens 10 or 15 minutes later, new information comes to light that nullifies the entire article that I just wrote.
Yes.
So that's it happens in the business, and it certainly sucks when it does.
Yeah.
I feel bad for myself and for the readers. And then I work at twice as hard to find out who actually is playing that role, to kind of make good on what I screwed up.
Balance out the karma.
Exactly. So
Well, that's not bad. I mean,
that it happens. But
it does happen, and I think you did your due diligence. It's not like, and especially you were working for The Wrap, which is so legitimate. I trust everything. I source you guys all the time for schmoesknow.com, and I get it. It happens, and that's the landscape of what we do, guys. And so I don't like to get into when there's these Twitter battles going on. You were wrong. I was right. You were wrong. And no, I didn't hear this. But it changes just like that.
It's very fluid.
Yeah.
And what's really funny, so now let's talk about the reverse situation.
Okay.
Last week, I reported that Ang Lee was the front runner to do Billy Lynn's long halftime walk, which is sort of a aftermath of the Iraq War. It's about a group of soldiers who have survived in Iraq.
Yeah,
they come home heroes. They kind of get paraded around Dallas before they actually have to return to Iraq.
Okay.
So I had gone to Ang Lee's team, and they had kind of insisted. He's still focused on the 3D boxing movie over at Universal. That's going to be very expensive. It's like Muhammad Ali and Joe Frazier and kind of recreating that whole era.
Ooh, that's going to be cool.
With really cool visual technology. Like Ang Lee, like always, is trying to push the boundaries of cinema.
Absolutely.
But I had heard it was just a little bit too expensive and they weren't ready to make it right now. So I'd heard that he wanted to do a small kind of character thing like Billy Lynn, and his team insisted he was still focused on the boxing movie and there was nothing there.
Okay.
And when I went with that frontrunner story, I got, are you kidding me? Emails, and they didn't seem happy.
Okay.
Yesterday, there's a press release from Sony saying it's a done deal that Ang Lee's next movie is going to be Billy Lynn's long halftime walk for TriStar.
Nice.
And it's just like, I go back to that team and I'm like, you guys are surprised why I go early with things, and it's for reasons like this. Now, granted, Deadline called yesterday's Ang Lee story exclusive, and some people gave him some crap.
Okay.
It was exclusive in that I didn't know the project was set up at TriStar, so that was a pretty big component of the deal.
Okay.
And Mike Fleming had that on his own, and rightfully labeled the story exclusive.
Okay.
But it's just disappointing. Like I go early with stories for this very reason, that they're probably going to get handed off elsewhere if I don't. And I had sources who I trust telling me Ang Lee is likely to direct this thing. Yeah. So sometimes you get denials, or people try and hold you off on stuff where if you wait you're going to be suffering.
I'm going to add into that my own experience. We broke an exclusive in February that Antoine Fuqua was going to direct Magnificent Seven remake with Denzel Washington. Okay.
Right.
We got a lot of flack for that.
Yeah. I probably gave you flack for it.
You probably did. That's fine. But I know that it's now been announced. Mm-hmm. There was a lot of exclusive talk that nobody ever kind of veered it back to the Schmoes Know, which is fine. It's fine. I'm not upset. At all. But I get it. I get it, because we're on two different kind of playing fields right here. You're on the trades and the rap variety, Deadline, Hollywood Reporter. We are schmoesknow.com. We are I think kind of on par sometimes with Latino Review and their scoops. Actually not. Sorry, Latino Review. You guys are the scoop hounds. Don't let me upset you. You're going to scoop us out of other things. But we want to be as reliable as Latino Review or Collider or Screen Rant.
And that's what makes this show so special, guys.
Yes.
Because we have the perspective of both sides of the movie press.
Exactly. So that happened. So that's interesting. I like hearing that Ang Lee is going to do something like this movie. So
I think it's a really interesting project.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, so that's
But let's get back to comic book movies, which is why we're really here.
yeah, the comic book movie world was kind of shaken yesterday, shaken and
yes.
stirred. So let's start with, what do you want to start with, Jeff? Because there's some big ones out there.
I think we have to start with what do they call him? The Merc with the Mouth.
Merc with the Mouth, Deadpool, finally was released, greenlit, with a date. Fox dated it February 16th, 2016, right?
Yep.
And we don't know yet if Ryan Reynolds is going to be in it.
It sounds like he is.
Yeah.
And
He did that test footage.
kind of blowing my mind.
You know, and it's
Nothing
interesting.
against Ryan Reynolds, and you go first.
Yeah, I think it has everything to do with that leak footage. The leak footage comes out as it was a test reel with Ryan Reynolds. Okay, I know it wasn't his body. I know it was all CGI, and it looked pretty damn good for test footage, in my opinion. And that Ryan Reynolds provided the voice, I thought it was pretty funny. And the fans went ape shit. I'll just say it.
We can say it.
They went ape shit for
Where's
this
our
test
swear jar?
Yeah, ding. So they went ape shit. This test footage went everywhere, and then strangely enough, it was pulled down. How it got leaked out there, who knows? We don't know. But a lot of people think it was to test the waters, got the big reaction, and then lo and behold, we were posting an article that the test footage. Ryan Reynolds says the reaction to the leaked Deadpool footage was awe-inspiring. That was a quote from Ryan Reynolds. That story was kind of making the rounds yesterday on the blogospheres, and then lo and behold, a few hours later, Deadpool is announced. And I mean, my Twitter feed was people, they were so happy about Deadpool being out
I didn't
there.
realize, what is it, the second best-selling comic currently? Mm-hmm. Interesting.
Yeah. Deadpool is a big, popular character because he's not your usual superhero. He breaks the fourth wall. He talks to his audience. He's like the Ferris Bueller of superheroes.
Yeah.
Makes jokes, looks at the audience, goes, "Can you believe this?" And that's going to be really interesting to see. And I think people really want to see what that could look like on screen. And people are really hoping for an R rating. And now here's the thing. I heard from the director that they finally figured out the script, and it was right before this was announced.
This is who, Tim Miller? Is that his name? Okay.
That they figured out, and you guys are all going to hate this, they figured out how to make it PG-13 and therefore not lose its soul, that's a quote, of the script, so that they can make it. Look, guys, it looks like Deadpool is going to be PG-13, and I'm as upset as you are about that. I wish they would go hard R, because the Merc with the Mouth, why do they call him the Merc with the Mouth?
Yeah, if he doesn't have a mouth. He talks
curses,
like a 13-year-old.
Yep, he curses up a storm, and he cuts people's heads off. So,
Yep.
Fox, if you're listening to this, which why aren't you? You should listen to this. You have experts here. Do it R. Just go for it. What happens? What's going to happen? You're going to get. I mean, I know it's PG-13, but
I like that test footage, and I in general, I'm a fan of Ryan Reynolds.
yeah, me too.
To me, it's very risky putting him as the lead.
Yeah. Why do you say that? Is that because of Green Lantern?
It's not
like
just
some people
because of
say?
Green Lantern, which is a combination of different factors.
Yeah, really, I don't find it his
But
fault.
just none of. I mean, he just doesn't seem like a draw to me between R.I.P.D. and the change up. I thought the change up's
I love the
hilarious,
change-up,
but nobody
too.
went to see it.
Nobody saw it, and yeah, our RIPD, as we know, just bombed. And I mean, I kind of saw that coming too. I didn't want to see it. I read the comic it was based on. Love the comic. Love Jeff Bridges, doing his kind of like a half rooster, half the dude or whatever. And I thought, but then when the trailers came out, I just looked at it and went, no, I don't want to see it. It looks like Men in Black, and I'm over it, and audiences were over it.
Ryan Reynolds is actually kind of special as an actor.
Yeah.
Like Chris Pratt, he's a triple threat.
Yeah.
In that he is good looking, so he can do romance. He's
Yeah.
funny,
Yeah.
so he can do comedy, and he's built so he can do action. Not many people have all three of those things.
Absolutely.
So he has a certain versatility, and I liked him in that test footage.
Yeah.
But to me, it would be financially risky for Fox.
Yeah, and
to
that's
cast him.
If we really break that down, like from what we're hearing and what we know, and when we're hearing these stories, and they make sense. Like when you were saying Billy Bob Thornton, okay, you're thinking about the movie, his part, and you're going and you're wanting to then break a story, and you're like, well, yeah, this all makes sense. Like if the character didn't match,
It has to pass a smell test for me.
absolutely, yeah. Yeah. So we'll see what happens. I personally believe Ryan Reynolds will be cast. I think it's kind of a foregone conclusion in my mind because of the chatter and the fans that I know come to Schmoville a lot and drop in. Even yesterday, I missed the main show because I was working, but I could see the Twitter feed happening, and everybody wanted to talk about Deadpool and Ryan Reynolds. So we'll see.
We forget Ryan did Blade Trinity as well. It's another comic book movie.
Yeah, he did.
So wait, what else was part of that announcement? We had Fantastic Four moving from June to August.
Yep, Fantastic Four moving.
And there's a lot to read into with that.
Yeah, and I'd like to hear your opinion because I have my opinion on this.
Well, yeah, I mean, first of all, Fox buys themselves another Comic-Con, which they skipped this year, right?
Exactly.
So they skipped Comic-Con this year. They were going to come out in June next year. Now they're coming out in August, and that buys them a July Comic-Con to really go nuts right before the opening.
Yep.
And also, they're taking the Guardian strategy.
Exactly. That was my point.
Yeah, opening up a new corridor in August. Not everything needs to be in June and July. August is not some summer ghetto anymore.
Yeah. It's Guardians of the Galaxy now is the highest grossing domestic movie of the year or the summer. I mean,
I think it's a whole year.
A whole year. And look at that. That's Guardians of the Galaxy. That was I was always calling it kind of the closest original superhero movie or original idea, because Guardians, I know it's based on a comic book, but not a lot of people knew about this comic book, including myself. So when you have that and then a talking raccoon of all things, and they release it in August, everybody was kind of, I don't know how it's going to do. I, of course, being a Star Wars huge fan, loved it, or was looking so forward to it, and everybody was. So this is a great move by Fox, I think.
Yeah.
And I actually heard some people saying too that the Fantastic Four movie was going to be a found footage movie because of Josh Trank and Chronicle. No, it's not. It's that would be ridiculous.
I think it would be cool, but
it might be cool the way it's done. No, but I think that, the reason Josh Trank was hired was because of Chronicle, which happened to be a found footage, but it was because of his attention to detail with character. That's what I think. Yeah. And so that's interesting.
The flip side of this Fantastic Four date was that Assassin's Creed
is gone.
Got bumped.
To where? We don't know.
To years unknown. It's lost in time right now.
Yeah. So what do you think that is?
Quite frankly, and they've denied these inquiries up and down.
So you've been making some inquiries?
For the last few months, it's just like every kind of tracking report you hear, it's like Assassin's Creed and Splinter Cell are both shaky.
Yeah.
Now, those are both at Fox and New Regency, and they're both Ubisoft properties. They both have huge stars behind them, so that's not the problem.
Yeah, we have
Fassbender
and Tom Hardy, right, for Splinter Cell.
So I don't know if it's just a matter of scheduling or the scripts aren't ready or what, but they've been planning this Assassin's Creed movie for 2016, and now it's just not on the calendar. And I don't think it's like coming in 2015.
And
it's gonna be a while out.
I think it might be a while. It might be a number of things. Do you think, in your professional opinion, that has anything to do with video game adaptation movies not doing so well at the box office?
I mean, maybe. I don't think that anyone goes to the movies or doesn't go to the movies because they want to see a video game movie. Like, if they want to see the movie, they don't care whether it's based on a comic book or a video game or whatever. Right. I don't think it makes any difference.
Yeah, if it looks good, I'm going to see it. And Assassin's Creed, I like the story. I've never played the game, but Fassbender, I love.
And Fassbender, from what I hear, is passionate about Assassin's Creed. He wants to do it, and he's got Justin Kurzel with him, who directed Macbeth.
Yeah.
So I don't know what's going to happen with that or when it's going to happen, but all we know is right now it's not happening.
Yeah. So guys in Schmoville, what do you think? Drop some comments in about what we talked about. Do you think Deadpool should be PG-13 or should they just go for it and just make it R-rated? Do you think Ryan Reynolds is going to be back? And then what do you think about Fantastic Four moving to August? Do you think that's a good move to kind of follow in the footsteps of Guardians? And then lastly, I want to hear about your Assassin's Creed thought. I mean, are you guys really, really, really wanting an Assassin's Creed movie? Are you bummed by this, that it's just kind of off the calendar? We want to hear from you. That could be hopeful news break.
Yeah.
You never know. But speaking of superheroes, Jeff, you mention something that was like really cool.
Oh,
for
that
me.
pre-show story?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can we talk about that?
Yeah. It's just a little nugget, and I
It's a
didn't
nugget.
know what to do with it these last 2 weeks, and I realized this is really the proper venue for it.
Yes.
It's the appropriate forum, if you
Yes.
will.
Yes.
So at Toronto, The Wrap hosted a luncheon.
Okay.
And it was a lovely time in the Trump Hotel, and I was sitting behind a table of older gentlemen.
Okay.
One of whom had been talking about working with Zack Snyder on Batman vs Superman. They were talking about.
Wait a minute. You heard stuff about Batman v Superman?
I think it's Dawn of Justice. Is that what they're calling it?
That's what they're calling it.
Yeah,
Oh my
I think
God, I'm
that's-
geeking out. Wait,
I think
keep going.
that's the one.
Okay.
So they had said that. And they were talking about Aquaman, how he's going to be like this buff Hawaiian guy covered in tribal tattoos and stuff,
Which makes a lot of sense
right, and they
because
were-
of Momoa.
And they said that basically what we didn't know in Man of Steel or whatever, although I think it's been widely speculated, is that Aquaman saved Superman's life when he fell into the ocean.
Yep.
I haven't seen Man of Steel in a while, so I'm a little fuzzy on the details. That's why we have Mark here.
That's right. I can fill you in. He fell off the oil rig after
Right.
saving a bunch of people. He fell into the ocean and was floating there. And as you saw some whales going by, he closes his eyes and goes into a flashback. And then the next time we see him, he's getting out of the ocean. So my question, Jeff, is how did he get out of the ocean?
Right, exactly. Well, this is what I heard. I heard that those whales that apparently we see in Man of Steel, I'm told that the whales saved him, and that Aquaman, they saved him at the behest of Aquaman, who can communicate with the animals of the sea.
That is correct.
So it's not as if Aquaman physically lifted him up or whatever, but it sounds like the whales came up from below and saved Superman.
Put
and
Kal-El in a loving embrace and just rose to the surface.
right. And then they're like, Aquaman, you owe us one.
I actually love that idea because
I think so too.
I heard something different, and it was more along the lines that Aquaman was pretty pissed at Superman for basically ruining the Indian Ocean
Right.
with that world engine that was
Right, exactly.
that happened at the end. I think this makes more sense, and now it can add to some speculation out there, guys, in Schmoville. We've heard. First, we heard that it was Superman pissing off Aquaman. Now we hear Aquaman actually saved Superman.
Maybe Superman pissed him off and Aquaman wants to have a word with him. He wants
Maybe.
to help Superman change his oil spilling ways or whatever.
Exactly. He's like, look, man, you got to stay out of my ocean.
But I like the idea. Listen, Superman is the savior of planet Earth, not
Yes.
the savior of the human race necessarily. It's all of the creatures on planet Earth. And so, yeah, why wouldn't the whale save Superman? He's got their back too.
Yeah. I think that's really interesting. I think it's interesting too. It's just something you kind of overheard.
Yeah.
So
I was literally, I'm not going to lie, I was eavesdropping.
Yeah, I would have too.
They were talking a little loudly, and they were at a luncheon hosted by reporters.
Yeah,
Sorry.
exactly. Yeah, you can. Yeah, studio heads, you might want to muffle your conversation a little bit more if you're sitting next to Jeff Snyder.
Blur my face this whole podcast.
But what's interesting is you didn't. Yeah, this is a good forum for that because it's
Yeah, it's
really
not an article. It doesn't make anybody like kind of pissed off.
Of course.
No one from Warner Brothers is going to listen to this, right?
Yeah, of course. I'm going to cover it later on schmozno.com. And people listening to this are obviously going to maybe pick up on that because that is juicy and it does. And guys, with geek blogs versus the trades, geek blogs sometimes post these things because we're geeks.
That's what you got to do.
And we like to incite conversation. Okay, I am more on that side than I am of clickbait, which is, I feel, a lot of the Star Wars news out there is just kind of clickbait. Like, look at this, there's going to be a Death Star. What? From that? That drives me crazy. Which, by the way, I'm going to give myself a shameless plug.
Do it.
I wrote a very tongue-in-cheek Star Wars article that I had a lot of you in Schmova actually believe. Now, my source on this, Jeff, was that I went into the future.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's cool.
I did. I went into the future and found 5 articles of Star Wars that haven't been announced yet. So you can go on schmozno.com and read that, and it's some pretty interesting stuff. I'll just give you one here.
Yeah.
Andy Serkis is actually playing Caesar from Planet of the Apes in the Star Wars universe.
He's taken over the universe. Now. He's in the
It was a deal. What I learned when I was in the future was that before Disney bought the rights to Star Wars, Fox had made a deal with Lucasfilm because they own the rights of Star Wars, that they wanted Caesar to cross over into the Star Wars universe. Lucas said, that's a great idea, let's do that, and then Disney bought it, so it's part of the contract. So You guys know it's tongue in cheek. Please know that, because I had a lot of you saying that you were going with it. You thought I was.
We're going with it.
And then once people realized that I was kind of poking fun at the news that's coming out that's from left field, that I was just having fun, guys. So that's just a fun article for you to read.
But, now I'm thinking about Caesar in space, and I think that they got to get that franchise out there.
I even went so far as to say that people
awesome.
like his performance so much, even more so. This version of Caesar in Star Wars is not only going to garner him finally an Oscar nod, but he's going to get his own spin-off movie in the Star Wars universe.
Honestly, if I'm Fox, I do Alien versus Predator versus the apes. Oh my God.
Oh my! Can you imagine? That would
Caesar
just be,
versus Xenomorph.
Yeah, Caesar. Who would win? Oh my God, that's for a discussion for another time.
Sorry, we're geeking out here.
Yeah, we're geeking out.
What else is there?
Well,
that we
I wanted
can
to
discuss?
I wanted to discuss your one of your stories that you broke, which is Dennis Haysbert.
Dennis Haysbert, President Palmer from 24.
President Palmer is getting his own movie, a zombie movie, Dead Rising, and that was an exclusive from you.
Yeah, he's one of the stars.
One of the stars.
This is not a traditional movie.
Right? No, it's not.
It's Legendary Digital.
Yeah.
Sorry.
We have some technical issues right now. Jeff Snyder apparently has something in his mouth. You have a cold. Okay.
So, Dead Rising, based on the popular video game. Legendary Digital is doing it. It's going to be essentially a 90-minute feature. I don't know if it'll be presented all at once or in chapters or whatever.
I read that it was going to be kind of, it was going to be presented one way, and then it was going to kind of roll out in all the digital media platforms.
I see.
I did not see a theatrical release, though.
No, I don't think it's getting a theatrical release.
Okay.
But, for a project like that, that's not on TV, proper or the big screen, to get Dennis Haysbert, I think he's awesome.
Yeah,
he's he was in Sin City. He's got Men and Women and Children coming up, Dear White People, and we all, if I could actually, I've never voted for a president. This is a shameful admission. Okay. I've never voted in an election. If David Palmer, the character, ran, I would vote for him to be the actual president of the United States.
I would too. I mean, I loved 24. So
people are like, "Who's your favorite president?" Martin Sheen on The West Wing.
Right.
I'm like, this is not even a question. It's David Palmer.
Mine happens to be Michael Douglas from American President.
That's the wrong answer. Michael Douglas, Dennis Hayes. I feel so comfortable in Dennis Haysbert's hands.
I actually
trust him.
Harrison Ford, Air Force One. That's my favorite president.
I'd still take Haysbert. Haysbert is
the
man.
I'm kind of with you.
The man. Someone hit him with a baseball bat and he just caught it.
That's right.
It's just like, no,
you're not doing this. Not here.
Anyways, so yes, Dennis Haysbert. He joined Ted 2 as well.
Okay.
I don't know. He's just kind of one of my favorite character actors in a sense. He was in Heat.
Yeah. Oh, he was so good in Heat too. That's just that moment when you see him, like he just got out of jail and he's like trying to make a go at it.
Shoves that cook out of the way.
Shoves the cook. The cook's just a dick to him, and he's
the cook.
Well, he's the cook. His boss is a dick, and then and then basically De Niro comes in and goes, "Last minute, hey, we need you," and he's like,
"Oh my God."
I'm out of here.
We're geeking out on Dennis Haysbert. This is the best show ever.
This is the best show ever because we get to talk and have fun and just break these news stories down.
What else happened? We got John Carroll Lynch playing Jerry Sandusky this week. I thought that was interesting.
That is really interesting. Can you talk a little bit about that? Because I kind of missed covering this and reading about this.
I mean, it's an indie movie.
Yeah.
De Palma's doing it though. Pacino's playing Paterno. I mean, this is less as a film fan, more of like a sports fan. I was just like, oh, this is going to be an interesting movie.
And look, done well, this could be Oscar. Don't you think?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
I mean, depending on...
It's been a while. We're talking Brian De Palma here, so...
Yeah, right.
It's been a while.
It has been a while, but I'm thinking more along the lines of an Al Pacino, Joe Paterno, what that might do. I just hope he doesn't go in yelling and screaming.
I'm not sure where the focus is going to be, like on sort of the legacy of Paterno and how it took a hit.
Yeah.
Is it more about Sandusky? I have no idea.
Yeah.
Sort of the direction that they're going in it.
Yeah, I don't either, but it's definitely interesting. But
he's just another great character actor.
Yeah.
So anytime we can talk less about superheroes and more about character actors,
right? Well,
it's my kind of show.
Yeah, I love that we're covering the bases here, which is another article that I want to discuss, which is got a big reaction at TIFF, which is Chris Rock's comedy Top 5.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It gets a December release date. Okay?
Yeah, I mean...
And I'm reading it off of therap.com here.
Oh, well, thank you.
You're welcome. So this is interesting, and I know you didn't write this article, but can you talk a little bit about, because you were at TIFF. Did you see this?
I didn't see it. I missed it, and I felt really bad about it. I really wanted to go, but it was like a 10 o'clock screening, and it's like, give or take 2 hours.
Okay.
And Tusk was at midnight, and I was like, there's no way I'm going to rush across town to get, because they were on opposite sides of town.
Right.
Couldn't afford to be late to Tusk, and I'm still happy with the decision that I made. I don't regret it.
Okay.
But yeah, I heard Top 5 was great. I heard Chris Rock's fantastic. Rosario Dawson. It has like really cool cameos. Jerry Seinfeld.
Nice.
Sandler's in there.
So is this a comedy or more of a dramedy?
I think it's a bit of both.
Yeah.
But
I'm
it's
asking
gonna
the
be
guy
funny.
that didn't see it.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry.
I think from what I hear, it's a bit of both. I think it'll be marketed as a comedy.
Okay.
I think that is. It's probably what December needs, because December's always too goddamn serious. I mean,
yeah, it
I know
is.
This year we have The Interview and Hot Tub Time Machine 2 on Christmas.
Sure.
But this is like mid-December, so
Yeah, and December is usually we're gearing up for the Oscar films are coming
and
out
this
there.
could be a Golden Globe contender.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be a serious contender.
Well, the first thing I notice when I hear buzz from the Toronto Film Festival, and when I hear that it gets picked up and then it gets a December release and it's getting all this buzz, I immediately think Oscar. Is that you too, or is that me? Just is that the world?
I mean, I immediately think awards. I don't think I'm thinking Oscar for the Chris Rock movie. But I think that they probably have their sights set on some sort of awards campaign as for a Golden Globe.
That's really cool.
Yeah,
and I'm looking forward to seeing this. So it's very interesting to me. So I'm hoping to see it, and I'm hoping, and is it this December that it's getting released?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I like that. So what else is on your plate?
I mean, Wingard and Barrett got not necessarily their next movie, but the guys who had The Guest, which came out on Wednesday. It's so fantastic. See it this weekend. It is the most fun you'll have in a theater all year, probably.
Really?
Along with The Raid 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, I loved it. I loved Your Next. I think that these guys are super talented, and if I had like a gigantic horror movie or a genre movie, they'd be the first guys I turn to these days. So they are going to do the remake of the South Korean serial killer movie I Saw the Devil, which is just a classic if you've never seen it.
Yeah, I haven't seen it. I've heard about it. Now, do you think because those guys are involved that it's going to get a little bit of hate for being a remake of a really well-known horror film?
Absolutely not. I don't think. First of all, I don't think it's as well-known as Old Boy. So there's like a lot more eyeballs and pressure on Old Boy.
Absolutely.
And boy, did that one strike out.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can't. Just because that movie failed doesn't mean that this movie will. I think that it has a really smart team behind it. I think it's just a great story. You can get two huge American stars to just go crazy against each other. And I wanted them to make The Chaser years ago. Warner Brothers bought the rights to The Chaser, which is another. I love Asian cinema.
Yeah. I'm not too familiar with it, so
they make a lot. They make the best crime films, to be honest.
Oh yeah,
they're all coming out of Korea or Japan. Wherever.
Yeah, what was The Departed?
Right, Infernal Affairs.
Infernal Affairs, which is a
terrific.
Great movie.
Perhaps even superior to The Departed, which is terrific.
I absolutely agree with that, and I am a huge fan of The Departed. So that should tell you everything.
I know. We got a few JT. Cool your jets there, buddy.
Yeah, why don't you jump in here, JT?
Real quick, they also remade Man on Fire called Man from Nowhere. It's a Korean film, which I think is actually better than the Denzel version.
Lovely.
So check that out.
Oh, thank you, JT. He's JT. By the way, congrats on your win last night in the Ultimate Schmodown.
Thank you, Riley.
Yeah, who's your next opponent?
Some guy with a dog.
Back. I'm taking phone calls live.
Oh my God! Breaking news.
I don't know who this is, but I'll call you back.
We just did something that we've never done here on Meet the Movie Press.
I'm answering phone calls, guys.
This is what's happening right now. Jeff Snyder walks in this morning and has work to do, and now it looks like
I don't know who's calling. I know it was a PR firm.
Oh, what does that mean?
I know. I should have just let it go to voicemail, but I wanted to.
No,
I want to cause commotion here.
Let's cause some commotion because it's Casual Friday here at Meet the Movie Press. So when you get a call like that, and it's a PR firm, what does that usually mean for a journalist like yourself?
Maybe there's a story that I had called them about before, and
Now, did they want to?
Maybe I'm getting my answer.
Maybe you're getting your answer. So if
getting an apology
So if it's an answer, are you missing a potential scoop here?
Potentially, but you know what? I do it for the fans. I do it for you guys.
That's right.
I love it.
Because at Meet the Movie Press, we care.
Yeah.
We care about what you guys want to hear about. So what do you think, Jeff? I mean, we're wrapping up the show.
I wanted to give a little advice for it. I just wanted to tell a little story.
I want to hear it.
I don't want to name any names because then I'll give it away. But
okay.
There's an upcoming show.
Okay.
It's going to be debuting in a couple of weeks on one of the 4 major broadcast networks.
Okay, so it's not a FX, AMC.
No. It's one of the CBS, ABC, Fox, NBC, etc. And there's a young actress on the show. It's a big ensemble. I was not familiar with her work. I didn't even know who she was. She really blew me away on the show. So I reached out to her agent yesterday.
Okay.
And normally when I call, people get defensive. They're like, "Oh shit!" Like the Insnider's calling me. Yeah, like what does he want to know? What can I help him with? He's chasing some scoop.
Yeah.
This was not, and this is what I recommend to aspiring reporters out there or whatever.
Yeah.
So I called him up and he's like, what do you want? What do you hear? And what can I tell you? I'm like, nothing. I just want to compliment you on this client who I thought was fantastic. Totally held her own against a much more experienced cast.
Wow.
I noticed that she hasn't done a movie yet.
Okay.
I'm very confident that she's going to book a movie eventually. Mm-hmm. Keep me posted when she books one.
That's nice.
And I think that is what you can't, as a reporter, you don't always want to be taking.
Yeah.
You can't always be focused on the short term. You got to think long term. And so, now I'm trying to establish a relationship with that agent based around this client who maybe, other press haven't, approached him about yet. She doesn't have a publicist yet.
Wow.
So you get in early.
That is great. That's great advice, actually. Are you kidding me? That's like, yeah, I was just thinking when you were telling me that, that's the long play. Because if this blows up, this TV show, so it's a new show.
Yeah, it's a new show.
So this actress, say the show blows up, this actress blows up, you call it correctly, all of a sudden she's the next it girl, and we got all these movies, we got all this discussion happening, and then you're dropping in an exclusive because you made a good move.
Right, get to her even before the buzz starts. And as press, we are fortunate enough to get sent episodes of television or whatever, DVDs, early.
Yeah.
And it's like, sometimes you can't even write about them yet, but you can still use what you've seen on these discs and take advantage of it.
That's great. And I think, if I can comment on that, it seems like you're a fan of this work. Okay, you're a fan of the show. You're a fan of movies, obviously.
Right, and I feel like maybe I can help them down the line if they need some press, whatever it may be, for the show, for something in the future.
That's great. That's a scratch my back, scratch your back kind of thing. I mean, I think it's just more you were just blown away and wanted to give due props.
I was impressed. There's a lot of generic television and, to be honest, a lot of generic young actresses on television who are kind of just phoning it in, going through the motions. And this young lady I thought had serious chops.
Good. Well, I'm interested to know.
It's always nice to make a discovery like that. I'll tell you off air.
Yeah, I want to know off air. So I think that's pretty much all the time we have here on Meet the Movie Press. And what's funny? It went really fast.
That sure did.
And that was fun because we talked about superhero movies.
We didn't even mention the Godzilla guys coming back to write the sequel, which I think is good.
Yeah, the Godzilla is that
Max
happening?
Bornstein,
yeah, he's coming back for Godzilla. Okay, for Godzilla 2.
He's the guy doing the Minority Report TV series.
Yeah, which you broke.
We missed out on stuff today, guys, but there's always next week.
Yes, there's a lot of stuff happening all the time. So, guys, what I want you to do again, hopeful news break. Now, you've heard us talk a lot about these really cool stories that broke. You guys were great by going to the Meet the Movie Press fan page on the Facebook. I'm getting all tongue-tied. I don't know why. But go ahead and jump on there again and drop in some stuff you maybe want to hear, because you might drop something. We're going to read it here on air, and we might just have heard something that might actually lend some credence to what you're saying. Not Hellboy 3, guys. Sorry.
Yeah.
But please do that, and go ahead and like this show on the Facebook page. Go ahead and subscribe on iTunes. I want to give a shout out to my family. I posted Meet the Movie Press on my family page. We have a big family that I come from, and they created their own Facebook page.
Nice.
And it's private, but I put it on there, and all of a sudden, the next day, I saw a little spike in the ratings.
Oh, wow.
So thank you, family. But to the rest of you in Schmovo, please give us a like on that page. Please
show us some love.
Show us some love. Subscribe.
Tweet at me.
Tweet at The N. Snyder.
I need more questions, guys. Suggest topics, suggest hosts, whatever you want.
Yeah.
I'm approachable.
Yeah. And you dropped your email at one point last week.
Jeff@therap.com.
That's right. And you can find me at schmoeseditor@gmail.com. You can hit me up on Twitter at @RileyAround. Hit up the Schmoes at SchmoesKnow, and just go ahead and subscribe and share this with the world, because we're having so much fun breaking down these news stories.
Have a good weekend, folks. ReadTheRap.com.
Yes, absolutely. And don't forget to join us and the conversation on SchmoesKnow.com. We'll see you next week. Thanks.
You just met the movie press.
Word.
From producers Christian Harloff, Mark Ellis, and the entire Schmoes Know Network crew, we would like to thank you for listening to Meet the Movie Press. Special thanks to Kevin Undergaro and Maria Menounos, the author of Every Girl's Guide to Diet and Fitness, in stores now. To watch or listen to other Schmoes Know Network episodes, get movie news, or join the conversation, be sure to visit schmoesknow.com. I'm the Pit Boss, and this has been a presentation of Schmoes Know.